Morning. Hey, sorry I'm a little late, but I'm here. How's it going, everybody? How's everyone doing? Morning. Yeah, I had trouble sleeping last night, so that's why. Hello, hello. Hey, Grace, how are you? Cool scientist. That is very cool. I just got off my space soon. That's so cool. What did you guys talk about? I mean, obviously you can't say exactly, but like, what kind of stuff? Morning. Sorry I'm a little late, everybody. Sorry. Had a rough sleep night last night, and when I finally got to sleep later this morning, I just slept, I guess. I got your text, Liz. I just haven't opened it so that I don't forget to address it. That's why I didn't respond yet. Yeah, from yesterday. I saw it, but I knew that if I opened it, I would forget to deal with it. So I was just like, let me leave it shut until I get back to my desk, for work stuff, because I was not working. Which is like, whatever. It's just wild that casually one of the that is cool. That's so cool, Grace. So fun. Yes, of course. That's obviously it. That's definitely it. Totally random question. Have all orders gone out? Almost. I'm down to the last 20. They will all go out today, which is great. Because then that means that I can just work on videos for slimes and stuff. Guys, pre-orders for Advent calendars are going to go up this weekend or tomorrow or whatever, which is fun. I almost bought another open heart. I didn't order, but you send out the monthly slimes. Yeah, I did. Absolutely. Yes. The monthly slimes went out before. The monthly slimes at your level, Amanda, went. Yes. The monthly slimes went out before. The monthly slimes at your level, Amanda, went out before the regular restock. But I will tell you guys, USPS has been quite slow right now, so I wouldn't anticipate any kind of quick delivery. Yeah, Amanda, there are people who were shipped on the 7th who still haven't delivered, so apparently this month they just are taking their sweet time with everything. I would just expect a slow burn on all shipping until after the election. This happened in 2020 as well, you guys. I actually made a post about it, Amanda. I don't know if you saw it, but there's no rushing USPS during the month of an election. It's just not going to happen. There's so many people who they're just not going to show up until they want to show up. Yeah, most of them just haven't even been delivered, and that's a fact. Liv shipped me a package almost 2 weeks ago, and it hasn't moved out of her state. None of the slimes glow in the dark, no. I would write in it. So every single detail, hey John, about any slime would be written in the listing, and if they glowed in the dark, I would write glow in the dark in the caption of the slime, so you would know right away. I would never hide that from anyone. Yeah, all of the extra cauldrons, not even in the state of California. It is the season for porch pirates, but I wouldn't worry about that right now because I don't think it's even in your state. Yeah. Yeah. I have, this is why I dropped my ballot off of the draw. But you know what? My ballot actually went, and I know my ballot went because I got a, I got a email saying that they received my ballot. So that worked. Oh, hey, thanks, John. John, how are you? I know you're not allowed to say what's going on, but can you tell us how you are, like how you're feeling, what's shaking? Yeah, my ballot is the only thing that was delivered, if you can believe that, because they literally emailed me to say we received your ballot. So that I know worked. I voted, for sure. I think they're focusing more on ballots and getting them where they need to go. No, I actually don't think that's what it is at all, Amanda. I 110% believe that it is a political tool that they use leading up to any election to negotiate and to fight with different things. It's something that happened in 2020, because if it was just that they were focusing on getting the ballots, then why in other times when there are other things that need to go in it's not holiday season, you guys, this happened in 2020. I am telling you, it never happens in midterm elections, right? And it doesn't happen every holiday season. This time of year, I don't know if they're still the Postmaster General. If it was related to the holidays, then how come every year we don't have trouble in October? Why do we only have trouble in October in election years if it's related to the holidays? I ship so many packages, I promise you I would see the trends. Like, I have been doing this for my entire life because my mom had a mail order business before I did. So literally the entirety of my life has been working with the mail. And I promise you, this only happens in election years, and it is a tool. They do not have that many extra packages, I promise you. Okay, look, I know people want to vote, but people are not sending more things in ballots than they do at Christmas. I promise you that, because no matter how many people you think want to vote early, it's never the amount of people that are mailing Christmas presents. I promise you that. And it's not all at the same time either, right? So like every state has different rules about when you can vote early. So there's no reason for the cross-state issues when it's, I just joined a negative banner at the bottom. Yeah, it's because we're talking about, it's also the fact that the decline in mail carriers, but the decline in mail carriers is happening right now specifically as a tool. That's what I'm saying, Amanda. Like the fact that there are issues with them happening right now is a tool, and they're doing it on purpose. It's really crappy. They do it as a negotiation thing. They did it in 2020 and they're doing it again now. And it's the regular people that suffer so that they can play these games. And here's the thing, not only do our taxes go into USPS, but we also pay on top of the taxes to have the mail sent. It's not a free service, right? It's not like voting where it's free. Mail isn't free. I still pay for it, you know? Exactly. Thank you, Jen. Jen just, I'm not going to say it out loud, but read this comment right here. Exactly. There's someone very specific who wants to tank the USPS. I'm not paranoid, Brenda. I'm not paranoid. I've been working with mail for literally my entire life. This is not paranoia. If it was paranoia, then it wouldn't happen every time there's an election. I agree, but I know a mail killer and they have no staff. She said they're walking out like crazy. Right, because they're trying to tank it. They wouldn't be walking out if they weren't giving them such a raw deal. They're literally purposely trying to tank government industry and agencies. It's true. Yeah. They're only understaffed because they don't pay. And they refuse to hire like backup staff. It's a legit issue. Yes, it absolutely is, Jen. It's a huge legit issue. Yeah. Yeah. No, they are literally, they're trying to do the same thing that they're trying to do with healthcare and everything else. They want it all privatized. And so they try to tank any government agency that used to be good so that everything can be privatized and made a thing where money is made more easily. Schools also. Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's all the same. And there's no paranoia in it. I'm not a paranoid person. It's just a fact. I don't understand why specifically at the election, though, to sway people. Oh, wow, look how bad it is right now. Can you imagine? We'll fix it. That's why. You know? Because they know if they screw it up when their next person isn't available to them right away, then they have to deal with the current people. But right now they think, oh, we'll just, slip it under the radar. No, she's not one of us. It was just some random troll scrolling by that wants to call people paranoid. Yeah, exactly. Yep, it's the same reason. It's the exact reason why I intend to put pre-orders for advent calendars up early this year, because also in some states it's not about the postmark, it's when it's received too. Yeah. I'm going to do advent calendars early this year because I just don't trust them. I'm gonna get all the advent calendars mailed out as early as possible this year, and they can just be in your house until you're ready to open them. It's not, if you were paranoid about it, then you wouldn't be talking about it on a live. That's probably also true. Yeah, it's a voter suppression tactic. It's all the same stuff, and it's a pain in the butt, and it's not cute, and it hurts small businesses most. But it's not just small businesses. For example, yesterday it said that Secret Husband's Halloween costume was delivered, and that's not a big deal. I don't really care about that much, but it wasn't delivered. They said it's in our mailbox. It's not. And when we reached out to Amazon, they were like, oh, your mail person probably scanned it incorrectly. Yeah, they did. Of course they did. Yeah, I know, Amanda. I know. It's wild, but what can you do? Hey, Mary. So that is a pain in the buttocks. But it is why I do recommend that everyone read everything that I post before paying for anything, because if anyone is in a hurry to get their packages, there's no such thing. Even things that I'm sending priority mail right now aren't coming in 2 days. Doesn't matter that we're paying extra for priority, it's still slow. The only bonus of priority is that they will pay us back if they lose it, because it's insured, but the rest of it is just slow as the rest right now. Just as slow as the rest. Pain in the butt. All right, so today we are on chapter 7. And chapter 7 is called The Sweet, S-U-I-T-E, and then in parentheses, Not So Sweet Life. So let's get into it. Disney Channel had a boy problem. In the 2000s, Disney Channel's audience was skewing about 60% female and 40% male. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I mean, it's not 100% equal, but that's not that bad. 60-40. In the binary terms of consumer research, male viewers still preferred Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, where action series thrived and on-screen burps, farts, and gross-out humor were not only tolerated, but encouraged. We had the tween business, which was massive. We had the preschoolers, which became massive. And then boys became third, former Disney Channel president Rich Ross said. They were the hardest for us to get. The data showed that tween boys did not want to buy merchandise that advertised their affinity for Disney Channel shows or its stars, nor did they buy Disney Channel soundtracks or attend Disney-related concerts at the same rate as their female counterparts. Instead, they pledged their allegiance to video games. Quote, we had a vast viewership, including boys, Ross stressed. The problem was boys acknowledging that they watched Disney Channel. The Disney Channel executives tried to add a variety of goofy, high-energy male characters to pull boys in, even on shows that starred girls, hence the existence of supporting characters Rico on Hannah Montana and Max on Wizards of Waverly Place as ports of entry for younger male viewers. There was always a younger brother or a friend, former Disney Channel PR head Patty McTeague said. So the sibling in the house whose tween sister was watching to control the remote had something he could relate to. To further alleviate the boy problem, Disney created a separate programming block on the ABC Family and Toon Disney cable channels called Jetix in 2004. I was obviously aged out of this because I have never heard of Jetix. Do you guys know what Jetix is? I literally don't know. And they eventually rebranded the whole Toon Disney network into Disney XD, a platform aimed at boys ages 6 to 14, but carefully billed as boy-focused girl inclusive. Soon after Disney launched Disney XD, however, that brother channel likewise was more popular with girls than boys. That's kind of funny. But what Disney Channel lacked in equal spread of viewers across genders, they made up for inspiring zealous, devoted fans from their female audience. Yeah, me too, Sloth. I mean, I was a nanny. You'd think I would know. I started babysitting when I was 11. Someone doesn't know their audience. They need to just ride the wave, right? Like, let it go. Just, you got your girls, gays, and theys. Let Nickelodeon have the boys. They don't spend that much money anyway. But what Disney Channel lacked in equal spread of viewers across genders, they made up for inspiring zealous devotion from their female audience. Every girl possible would be turning into what we had. We over-indexed in a very big way. Original programming executive Adam Bonnet said, that may skew our Nielsen numbers a little bit, but what it ended up doing was creating a fever and a passion for our content that you couldn't deny. Still, any potential Disney Channel show that could draw more boy viewers without isolating existing female viewers was exalted. Thus, hopes were high for Phil of the Future, a comedy about a time-traveling family who gets stuck in the present with a tween boy in the title role. On Phil, however, the creatives were instructed to deploy broad sitcom comedy tropes within the series' single-camera framework. It was a confusing ask. Quote, if we could go back and redo things, I would love to take a whack at Phil of the Future as a multi-camera show, Bonnet said. Instead, using the single-camera series starring Raviv Ullman, who went by Ricky professionally at the time. I was going to say I don't recognize that name. And Ali Michalka underwent several showrunner changeovers trying to find a formula that worked until Disney Channel pulled the plug after just 43 episodes. If you know what big is, you know when you have something big, Ross said. So when shows did just okay, we said, that's life. You really can't force it. Meanwhile, in 2004, Irene Dreyer was on the hunt for new talent. The independent producer prided herself on the ability to sniff out potential superstars who she would then bring to TV networks to develop projects around. She'd previously found success with Taj Mowry for Smart Guy at the WB and with his older twin sisters, Tia and Tamara Mowry for Sister Sister. It's pronounced Shock, I think. Oh, okay. I believe you. When both of these series started airing in syndication to great ratings on Disney Channel, she called Bonnet to ask what the talent network needed for their own new shows.
Well, find me boy twins, Bonnet instructed. Dreyer had recently seen the Adam Sandler film Big Daddy and thought that the young boy starring opposite Sandler would be worthy of a show of his own. Sandler could be worthy of a show of his own. Oh wait, no, sorry. Sandler, the boy starring Sandler could be worthy of a show of his own. Given the frequency with which twins were employed to play the same kid role, Dreyer wondered if that might be the case here. She scanned the credits. Cole Sprouse and Dylan Sprouse. Perfect. The perfect dive would reveal that the brothers had gotten their starts as toddlers, sharing a role on the ABC sitcom Grace Under Fire. Cole had also appeared as Ross's son on Friends. At 11 years old, the boys were already established sitcom actors, and Dreyer set up a meeting. Dylan and Cole were hysterically funny, Dreyer said. We made the deal right then and there. Bonnet paired Dreyer and the twins with a hotel set pilot that Disney had bought from former Who's the Boss producer Danny Callis and Family Matters producer Jim Cogan, and tailored it to fit the Sprouses. It marked the first and only time that the Disney Channel series was specifically developed for new to the network talent. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. What if two Bart Simpsons lived at a fancy hotel? Became the tagline of Eloise inspired The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, about twin boys named Zach, Dylan, and Cody, Cole. Martin, growing in... their names were Zach and Cody Martin, growing up in an upscale Boston hotel where their single mom works as a lounge singer. Callis and Cogan had been shopping a version of Sweet Life to various networks for years. At one point, they'd even hoped a young Alfonso Ribeiro would star as the hotel-dwelling kid with a lounge singer father. Rather than bring in outside production company like how Brookwell McNamara Entertainment had worked on Even Stevens and That's So Raven, Disney Channel utilized its recently created internal division called It's a Laugh Productions, allowing them to further streamline contracts, costs, and the need to involve outside parties on their series. Parenthetical, they had a similar setup for many of their DCOMs, which operated under various production company banners, but were actually all run by the same team. The Sweet Life pilot beat out another potential show starring identical siblings, triple play executive producer by That's So Raven, Dava Savell, and centered on its identical triplets played by Alyssa, Caitlin, and Lauren Gaynor. Yet another set of lookalikes found by Dreyer. A young Zac Efron played their older brother. Oh my God, I remember telling Zac Efron that it was not going ahead, and he was crying, Savell said. He was just so sweet. I swear to God, this is verbatim. I said, Zac, you're not meant to do television, sweetie. You're a movie star, and that's what you're gonna do with your life. That's funny. That's pretty funny. The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, which was set almost entirely within the fictional Tipton Hotel, was essentially Disney Channel's first workplace comedy. Quote, we would talk about the Sweet Life being our version of the Mary Tyler Moore Show in a way, Bonnet said. We wanted a place where everyone felt like family, even though they just kind of worked together. The hotel premise also allowed for the unusually robust cast of adult characters to rotate around the kids. There was Mr. Mosby, the uptight hotel manager, played by Phil Lewis. They also considered putting Riviera in that role. Arwen, the hotel engineer, played by Brian Stepanek. And the bellhop Esteban, played by Adrian Ramonte. And after testing Jane Lynch, Debbie Gibson, and Taylor Dane to play Zach and Cody's mom, Carrie, they decided to cast Shakespearean theater actor Kim Rhodes. Still, Disney made it clear that the adults were not to draw attention away from their younger co-stars. See, this is what Raven's mom did not learn on That's So Raven, clearly. When Rhodes went to get her hair dyed to be believable to match the boy's sandy locks, she said that the network sent over a color palette of the hotel's colors with approved hues for her hair that would easily blend into the background. The kids were the stars. I can see how, again, like with Raven's mom, an adult might take issue with this, but if it's in your contract as a performer, just roll with it. You're getting paid. This is your job. They're not lying to you. They're not saying you're the star. They're saying you're the background. the kids are the stars here. And so as long as they're honest, I actually have no issue with it, to be fair. Crucially, The Sweet Life also had the potential to be a gender-neutral show for viewers thanks to boisterous boy leads and the substantial supporting roles of two slightly older, slightly aspirational female characters. They wanted me to beat the pants off SpongeBob and get boys, Callis said. Mind you, the day of the first script reading after they picked up the pilot, the executives came up to me and said, "You realize this is all about Maddie and London, right?" They kept wanting to be reassured that they wouldn't lose their girl viewers. As Maddie, the smart and relatable every girl working the candy counter in the hotel lobby, they cast Ashley Tisdale. And to play Sweet Life's spoiled hotel heiress London Tipton, a character inspired by Paris Hilton, they turned to veteran Disney Channel actor Brenda Song. Love them both, by the by. You're literally on a kid's show and you're an adult, you're clearly not the focus. Like, just do it. Yeah, or don't take the role. Like, if you don't like supporting roles, don't take the role. No one's gonna force you to do it. But if you want that credit, act according. That's my opinion. The girls had originally auditioned for each other's part, but Callis said, "I just felt that Ashley would be better Maddie and Brenda would be better as London. And in no small measure, I was amused by the idea that the Asian character wasn't the brainiac." Honestly, I think that's also for the best. Why lean into the stereotypes? Let's break the mold. Let her be the ditzy girl for once. I don't see a problem with that. Brenda grew up idolizing Cindy Crawford and dreaming of being on Star Search. Her Hmong dad and Thai mom had both immigrated from Thailand to Sacramento, where her mom had Brenda when she was just 17. Yeah, they did a great job. I have no issue with either of their performances, and I think they're both brilliant performing ladies. Though the family didn't have much money, Brenda's grandmother emptied her savings account to put Brenda in acting lessons. Oh, and by the by, they're both super adorable, like, moms now, which is super cute. By the time Brenda was 6, her mom was driving her the 5.5 hours back and forth from Sacramento to LA for auditions. Woof, doesn't feel worth it to me. Send a tape or move. Yikes, it's not that much cheaper to live in Sacramento. Poof, couldn't afford the gas. And when Brenda was 15, she graduated high school through homeschooling and got accepted to Harvard University just as she booked The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. We love a well-rounded queen. Well-rounded queen. I mean, they're almost our age, Amanda. It's not that weird. Isn't Ashley Tisdale only like 2 or 3 years younger than me, if that? I think. I'm pretty sure. Pretty close. Selena Gomez is only 2 or 3 years younger, I think. I know, Macaulay Culkin and Brenda Song are so precious. I love it. I absolutely love them. They're so cute, and I love that, like, she, like, turned his life around. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. Ashley's 39. Oh, she's not younger than me. Never mind, I lied. I thought she was younger than me. Why did I think she was younger than me? Okay, I lied. She's not younger. I guess it's just Zac Efron and the rest of the High School Musical characters that were a little bit younger, but Ashley's not. I stand corrected. They just played younger roles and it made me think they were younger. Yeah, I guess not. Sounds like Ashley's not. Okay, anyway. She turned down Harvard to do the show, and as a result, I didn't go to my first house party until I was 20, she later told Glamour. I saw MJ, Zac is 37, so he's the one who's just a little bit younger. Yeah. Okay. I saw my first MJ for the first time, and I thought that it was potpourri and threw it away. That's how naive I was. That's very cute, Brenda. On the Sweet Life set, Brenda was always on time, exceedingly polite, memorized her lines at lightning speed. Oh, a dream actress. We love to see a queen like this. On breaks, she would chat with the crew about literature and practice punchlines with Kim Rhodes. Everyone loved her. Dylan had an insane crush on Brenda. It was very sweet. Producer and writer Jenny Queen said, "There was one episode where London was dating someone and we were like, let's keep Dylan off set because he did not want to see his beloved kissing someone else." Brenda could make funny scenes hysterical, like when Mosby taught London to drive and asked her if she knew how to use the shifter. "Oh, you mean the PRNDL?" She replied innocently, sounding out the Prindle. She said, sounding out the word as Prindle. It was sitcom comedy gold. Very cute. Brenda had first come into the Disney Channel fold with a co-starring role in the 2000 Disney Channel original movie, The Ultimate Christmas Present. That had led to a supporting role behind Lindsay Lohan in the 2002 DCOM Get a Clue, and another supporting role on Phil of the Future, and yet other supporting roles in 2004's DCOM Stuck in the Suburbs. But it was only the 2006 DCOM Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior that she received top billing for. Quote, I don't think they felt like they could do a show where an Asian character could carry the title role, casting director Joey Paul Jensen said. They always saw her as being a part of the ensemble. I just don't think it was part of the ethos at the time. Still, Brenda has praised the network for giving this little Asian American girl a chance in Hollywood. She told W in 2019, they were giving me my own TV movies when other people definitely weren't doing that. All right. I know, it's very cute, nice. I love that they had these little baby crushes on the older girls on set. Very cute. And I love that the older girls were like, that's always how it is, right? Throughout the 2000s and beyond, the executives calling the shots on who did or didn't get to be Disney Channel stars were overwhelmingly white. And as much as Disney was lauded at the time for diversifying their on-screen representation, there were still cultural and ethnic stereotypes and skewed opportunities playing out in their shows, like having American-born actors perform with pronounced Spanish and Indian accents on Sweet Life and Jessie, and reducing the already rare roles played by Black actors during Hannah Montana's run. Frances Callier as Roxy the Bodyguard and Andre Jamal Kinney as Jackson's best friend Cooper both disappeared by that show's third season. This is an interesting thing in like taking a look back at any entertainment, because we're so critical now, right? And rightly so. We should be critical, right? So that's fine. But it is like, I also see Brenda's point, right? And I think on some levels, while we should be critical, we should also praise, like Brenda does, the things that were being done correctly that weren't being forced yet, right? Like they weren't being told they had to do it. There was no DEI, so they just did it because she was good. And in some ways that feels even better, right? It was like, oh, they just did it organically because she's genuinely the best for this. And that always feels really good to me. I don't like the things that they did wrong, but like the rights being done for the right reasons is like, we love to see it. When Sweet Life was still in production, Brenda began branching out from Disney and exploring theatrical movie roles. She auditioned for Clint Eastwood's 2008 film Gran Torino, a role that would have let her speak Hmong on screen, but she said Disney didn't allow her to move forward to it because of the implied grape scene that takes place in the film. Many of the Disney Channel's actors' contracts included verbiage that prevented them from pursuing roles with outside projects that were inconsistent in taste, content, and sensibility with traditional and family-oriented values of the Disney Channel brand unless they obtained express written permission from the network. That's difficult because while I understand her desire to be in other things, I also understand that if she's still performing on this show and the show's not over, how that could really hurt the kid audience. That's hard. I have mixed feelings about this one. I'm not sure where I land on it. That's hard. I don't know. Brenda pushed again in 2009, auditioning for and winning a role in David Fincher's The Social Network. See, that's a better fit. That included a scene hooking up with Andrew Garfield in a bathroom stall. That doesn't seem as bad to me. Yeah. The Social Network doesn't feel like a movie that was going to... But she was also not on the show anymore by that point, right? Or am I crazy? Anyway. Again, Disney Channel pushed back. Oh, I guess she was. Gary Marsh did not want her to do that movie. And Sweet Life creative consultant Billy Ryback recalled a conversation that he had with Brenda. She said, "You don't understand. I'm not asking permission. I would just like your blessing." And Marsh went, "Well, you don't have my blessing." And she did it anyway, and she was great in it. Also correct. So she's right in that she picked her battles and she chose the right one, obviously. For Dylan and Cole Sprouse, the Sweet Life set provided stability that they had yet to know in their young lives. A lot had happened in our lives that was difficult by then, Dylan posted on Instagram in 2020, and this show, in a way, saved us. The boys had been born in Italy, where their parents, Melanie Wright and Matthew Sprouse, were teaching art and physical education at an English language school. Several months later, the family moved back to Long Beach, California, but before the twins turned 1 year old, Melanie and Matthew had already split, and Dylan and Cole were already acting professionally. My mother needed income, Cole said on the Call Her Daddy podcast in 2003. It started really as a means to just put bread on the table. Y'all know how I feel about that. As production on the Sweet Life pilot began, it was clear that Melanie, who had signed the twins' contract, was serving as their guardian, and she was also struggling with her mental health and addiction issues. Quote, "The night of the pilot, I got very concerned about their mom," showrunner Danny Callis said. "I said, here's what we'll do. I'll let Disney know. We'll put them up in a hotel right up the block. We'll tell the boys simply that we don't want to risk them being late, and we'll let them get out of the house for the next 2 weeks while their parents figure out what they're going to do." And by the time the regular production on the series was underway in late 2004, their dad, Matthew, had then been assigned sole custody of the boys. For a dad to be assigned sole custody, the mom has to be in pretty bad shape. I don't know anything about this woman, but I feel for all of them in the situation, because you have to be in pretty bad shape for a state to award full custody to a dad of children. Frequent Sweet Life director Rich Correll had experienced working with young twin performers, having already directed Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen on their various shows since they were 9 months old. The only time the girls were ever late on set, he said, was because they bought a Learjet on their so little time lunch break and they had trouble deciding the color of the interior. That's a little different. Because he'd also been a child actor himself, Correll said he was intent on fostering a fun family atmosphere at work and making sure that the young stars felt safe and loved. He and his wife, Beth Correll, who served as the assistant director on The Sweet Life, took Dylan and Cole under their wing during production. Quote, "My wife was like their surrogate mother," Rich said. "They still to this day send her Mother's Day cards." That's actually really sweet, and it makes me glad that they had this experience to get them out of whatever they were dealing with. Rather than commute back to their dad's house in the valley each night during shoot weeks, the Sprouses would periodically stay at the Corrells' home, which was a 4-minute drive from the studio. Rich was an avid collector of horror and sci-fi memorabilia, so the house was full of artifacts from Hollywood hits. There was also a movie theater, a ground-level trampoline, a zip line into the pool, and a garage full of go-karts. At Halloween, the Corrells opened their home up to the public to tour the memorabilia, and the boys, as well as Miley Cyrus and other network stars, would often dress up in costumes and scare the unsuspecting visitors. This is very cute. I actually love this. On at least one occasion, the Sweet Life cast went to the Hugh Hefner mansion, so I don't have to say the other word, to see the elaborate Halloween decorations that Rich had orchestrated there every year. "It was during the afternoon," Adrian Ramonte said of after one outing. He said he went on with the Sprouses, Brenda, Ashley, and the Corrells, stressing that it was a work environment as they toured the grounds and the infamous grotto. Years later, when producer Adam Lapidus ran into Cole at one of Rich's Halloween parties in the late 2010s, Lapidus recalled Cole telling him that us and Rich and Beth really gave him and Dylan the support and the family that they needed at the time. And I was crying because you hear so many horror stories, and the fact that them being on the show was actually something that helped them was something really heartwarming. As was the case with many who worked on Disney Channel shows, the Sweet Life crew said that they viewed their roles as beyond more than just creative contributors. "It's more than just a show. You're creating an environment," said line producer Patty Gary Cox, who had a reputation for being a comforting mother hen on her sets. "These kids are going to remember this. The things that we create on this stage are things that they're going to take with them forever, and you want it to be positive." Dylan and Cole to this day don't really have a relationship with their mom. Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like they send that this woman, they consider her more of like a surrogate mom even now. If they're still sending her Mother's Day cards, you know? Which is, I have to say, it speaks well of her that they're still sending them. But sometimes the kids are the ones having to act like adults. Both Sprouses were known to be protective of those around them and seemed to sharply discern the power that they wielded as stars of the show. Rather than use that power to act out and make demands, they took it upon themselves to speak up for their much older crew members and co-stars. I cursed like a sailor, and there was a very brief period of time early on when someone had a problem with that and was really going to make a big problem for me, Kim Rhodes said. The boys were like, listen, we worked with Adam Sandler. There's not a word we haven't heard. You can stop. Later, Rhodes became pregnant in real life during the show's third season, and rather than write the storyline into the show, an unwed pregnant mom was simply a bridge too far for the Disney Channel, the scripts occasionally made jabs acknowledging her character's weight gain, and again the boys stepped in. There was this line that Dylan was supposed to say about mom putting on weight, and he skipped it during rehearsals, Rhodes said. Finally, in front of the studio audience, he got called out, and they were like, say your line. And he was like, no, I would never disrespect my mother that way, and I will not disrespect Kim that way. Damn. What an advocate, even as a kid. Another quintessential memory for Rhodes was when Ashley Tisdale refused to leave her side at a red carpet premiere where Rhodes, who had since learned that she was autistic and had crippling social anxiety, I'm saying it like this because they literally put it in quotes, and it started flaring up, Ashley took my hand and she said, I've got you, Rhodes recalled. She didn't tell people why she was doing it, but she wouldn't step away from me. She held my hand the entire length of the red carpet, and I don't know what would have happened to me if she hadn't been there that day. Wow. Other times, the twins pulled co-stars into public opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't have been a part of. At a photo shoot, they'd go, where's Adrian? He's supposed to be here. We want Adrian, said Ramonte, who played Esteban. There are some iconic marketing photos that were used for years of us on the little bellhop carts, and I was in those photos because Cole Sprouse pulled me in and included me. Outside of Disney, the Sprouses management team was busy attempting to make them the next Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. At age 13, they signed with the Olsens Dual Star Entertainment and launched their own deodorant, hair gel, sportswear, and a magazine. But unlike Raven and Hillary, the Sprouses had zero interest in pursuing singing careers, though they were roped into Disney Channel's Circle of Stars rendition of A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes. Quote, Dylan and Cole from day one were like, ooh, we do not sing, Sweet Life producer Adam Lapidus said. They were adamant about that. They said, don't try us, we can't do it. By the time The Sweet Life was underway, the network executives had grown comfortable with the constant input and oversight. They were increasingly relying on testing from focus groups to determine what should be included on their series. Sometimes they'd show a new episode to a room of 8 to 10 kids, and then they would spend an hour and a half discussing every aspect of the show that the tiny sample liked or didn't like. Director Rich Carell had been, how many people named Rich and Ross do you think worked at the Disney Channel? Like, can we get a number? Because there are so many. It's like outrageous. It's like the go-to name to be hired at the Disney Channel is either Rich or Ross. That's it. You have to have one of those names. I swear to God. Had been a child actor on Leave It to Beaver and Lassie before coming to producer and director as an adult. His dad was radio star Charles Carell, best known for voicing one of the first radio sitcoms, Amos and Andy, a serial about two black men voiced by two white men, and friends, and he was also friends with Walt Disney. As a kid, Rich would go to Walt's house and ride the mogul's famous backyard train. Oh, what a joy. Seeing the contrast between the innovative Disney he recalled from his youth and the by-the-book Disney he was now working for, Carell had little respect for the Disney Channel executives dictating things from the Burbank headquarters he deemed the Black Tower. Every time you say Lapidus, I don't know the spelling, I think of Zetus Lapidus. It's funny, so Anya mentioned yesterday, like Joey, laughing about Lapidus, but I just realized, so on the TV show, Episodes, which features Matt LeBlanc, who is obviously Joey as the star, there is a producer with the last name Lapidus, spelled the same way it's spelled here, which is how I knew how to pronounce it, on the show, and he's like not a nice guy, and so I wonder if like whoever wrote that show knew this guy. I don't actually know, but it's kind of interesting to think about, right? Anyway, oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Okay.
So foggy out.
I know, it's super foggy. It's been foggy all morning.
It was foggy last night.
Yeah.
Super scary foggy.
When I got up to get
There
water,
goes
it was
stuff.
foggy. You
There
think the
goes
ghost left?
Everywhere. No, clearly not. They dispersed into a wider fog. We can't even see the hill over there. It's so foggy.
He's right.
That's insane. Like, basically, we can see a block and a half.
Yeah, I can only see just barely into the shopping center over here.
Well,
Yeah, just about. You're right. We were just laughing because, okay, remember when we watched episodes, there's the character Mark Lapidus?
yeah, it's probably the fog. We should watch the fog, because the fog, when the mist rolls in, you know, everybody's dead beyond that. So when it comes and envelopes us, you need to bunker down.
We're inside.
Bunker down.
You think that the fog can get
Lock the
inside?
doors, there's monsters out there now. What were you going to tell me?
I was going to tell you, remember how on the show episodes there's a character named Mark Lapidus?
Yes, he is a...
Not good
He
producer
is
guy?
a normal Los Angeles native.
Yes. And there's a character, not a character, a real person in this book
That person
with the
did not
last
stop
name.
at the stop sign. Oh my god. Call the cops. They didn't. That wasn't even a rolling stop. They just fucking went right through it.
He becomes a
This is
dad
a
and he's
neighborhood.
suddenly concerned with rolling stops.
It wasn't a rolling stop. As I was saying, they went through it completely.
Yeah.
They didn't even pretend to like slow down.
No.
What about Mark Lapidus? That's fucking probably Mark Lapidus right there. There's another Mark Lapidus. What's happening over here?
I don't know, sweetheart. Not even a California stop. That's right. There's a person in this book with the last name Lapidus spelled the same way.
That might just be a pretty standard Jewish last name.
Oh. I was just thinking maybe since they're both
That
producers,
truck
it
didn't
was
stop too.
based
What's
on...
happening? This stop sign doesn't work here. No one's stopping there. That's insane. 3 in a row.
Are you sure it's a stop sign and not a light?
No, there's a stop over there. It's a 4-way stop.
Oh, the one that's further from us?
Yeah,
Oh.
that is a 4-way stop that everybody ignores.
Yeah, it's bad. You should
It's
write a
also
letter
not
to
a
your
crosswalk, and
congressman.
people constantly are crosswalking on it. It's annoying.
I advise writing a letter to your congressman.
Gotta write a stern letter to our neighborhood watch. Like, oh, we need to start monitoring the situation. I was,
Are you going to put traffic enforcement on speed
I'm gonna
dial?
fucking put cones out there. that-
Priscilla's wondering if they can't see it because of the fog.
It's not that thick yet.
It will. Yes, okay.
Wait, so Mark Lapidus, there's a character called Lapidus in your book.
Yes. And he's also a producer, but this is real. So I'm wondering if it's based on him.
Maybe, but also, like I said, I think that's a maybe.
Yeah, but he's
more.
also a producer in
More.
Hollywood.
Well, also, Hollywood tends to skew in that direction, so that's...
All right, well, our city puts red flags on them if people run them off, and oh, interesting. All right, well, let's finish up
Red
this chapter.
flags. What does that do?
What does that do, Mel? I don't know how to describe the laugh I
That's a
just
good
left.
spot to run the... Hey, everyone, just so you know, this is the one that we all do.
That's pretty funny. Excuse me. Quote, Disney had hired a group of people to run this division that were muscle-bound from patting themselves on the back, Carell said. Not really talented people, but just lucky people who thought that they were talented. She said the red flag is just to get the attention of the people.
Muscle-bound from patting themselves on the back.
That's a line, right?
Wow.
Yeah, that's really something.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's harsh. For Carell, who had been a producer on Happy Days under the tutelage of the legendary Gary Marshall, the network's notes and weekly meetings at Disney were now excruciating. Marshall had taught his team to always have a solution for something that they didn't like. You can't say, that isn't funny or it doesn't work. You have to say, that doesn't work, but here's what will work. And giving those notes, Disney often did not follow the rules. To many of the creatives, it seemed to be notes for notes' sake. One network middleman got yelled at for reporting back to his boss that all was good with a script draft. They needed notes to show that they were doing their jobs. I agree with him. That's a bad model. You should use the...
That's literally hell in a creative job.
Yes, it's the worst. I agree.
People that do that should all be lined up outside and shot.
Whoa, I was just going to say fire them.
Okay. No, but they're worthless. And they know they're worthless. What are we doing here? Let's just, nip it at the bud.
Okay. Okay.
Pull the weeds!
Yes, so we're advocating for different methods of dealing with this, but we want the same outcome in the end.
That's good that we want the same outcome. What's your
I don't want them working on it, is the outcome.
Oh, I thought you wanted the outcome.
I mean, sure, we have too many people on the planet anyway, it's fine. Okay. Now that I'm mostly out of the business, I'll tell you, Disney is the most micromanaged company. It was horrific, producer Adam Lapidus said. If we want to hire a one-line actor, then we had to send the Disney executives 3 choices, and they would choose, not us. That is pretty unusual, I'd have to say. What's the word for this side? I know it's not wrong, it's the funny side. One of the most egregious decisions that the network made was hiring a
What are you going to say?
hiring a convicted beep boop offender for a small voice role on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Oh yeah, we've all seen the documentary about this. Brian Peck had previously worked with Nickelodeon as an actor and dialogue coach on shows including All That and The Amanda Show. Have you guys seen the documentary about this guy? Wild times. But he had also been sentenced to 16 months in jail by the time he provided the voice for London's Talking Mirror in 3 episodes of The Sweet Life. In 2004, Peck pled no contest to charges of lewd acts and things that I'm not going to say with a male minor he previously coached. Drake Bell of Nickelodeon's Drake and Josh publicly came forward as the victim at the center of that case in 2024. And when he was also revealed that Rich and Beth Coral wrote letters defending Peck in his 2004 sentencing. I don't remember, Mel. I'll have to look it up. The Corrells have since apologized. Quote, if we had known the truth at the time the letters were written, we never would have written them. I don't like that. I don't like that. Nope. That's not a good excuse for me. They wrote in a statement to Variety stating that they had no involvement in Peck's Sweet Life hiring. That's the name. It's called Quiet on the Set. Yeah. Peck was never on the Sweet Life set with the actors. He just recorded the vocals in post-production. How that ended up happening, I'm not sure. But I know for a fact that he was the on-camera talent that was going... But I know for a fact that if he was on-camera talent that was going to be on the set, the checks and balances that we had in place at the time would have caught that, former series head Adam Bonnet said. The minute that we found out who he was, I was contacted and a change was made to re-voice the Mirror. Another bombshell hit the Sweet Life set in 2008 when the Sprouse's personal manager, Josh Workman, whom they had worked with since they were 8 years old, was convicted of a misdemeanor child blah 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 blah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's bad. The case did not involve the Sprouses, and their family cut ties with him immediately. It was shocking, Irene Dreyer, producer, said. I never imagined anything like that would happen. Workman had been a major presence in the Sprouses' life, and he guided their careers, securing their Disney deal and their outside partnerships. Quote, my biggest concern at that point was, were the boys affected? Because I knew that they were emotionally affected. He was really important to them, Lapidus said. It was rough, and it was all really sad. As production on the 3rd season of The Sweet Life and Zack and Cody came out, Disney Channel began working on a spin-off series called The Sweet Life on Deck. The network had originally been interested in a companion series that centered on London and Maddie on a ship, and the showrunner, Danny Callis, had hoped that he could keep The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody going, running both shows simultaneously. But according to Callis, Disney couldn't reach an agreement with Ashley Tisdale over her share of the merchandising profits of a spin-off. Quote, I get a call a couple months later, they can't make a deal with Ashley, could we put the boys on the boat instead? The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, as with previous shows like Lizzie McGuire and That's So Raven, had received periodic season extensions, sometimes stretching their number of episodes into the 30s for a single season. That tactic, many felt, was a monetary decision on Disney's part to delay salary and title bumps for a new season. But after The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody spent a year and a half filming its 39-episode season, things had to change. We felt in the moment, this is not fair, and we looked into ways to fight it, said the writer and producer Jenny Quine, who got pregnant, had a baby, took maternity leave, and returned to work all over the course of that one gargantuan season. At the end of the day, it ended up being Dylan and Cole who changed things because they didn't want to work for another year and a half straight. The Sweet Life, which, I mean, by the way, we all work for years and a half, but these are children we're talking about, you guys. This is not fair. These are kids. They should not be working like this. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody had already reached the 65-episode threshold after just 2 seasons, and its 3rd season was reduced to 22 episodes, much more normal. Then, by subsequently making The Sweet Life on Deck a separate series rather than just another series of Zack and Cody, Disney was able to renegotiate new Season 4 salaries for most of the crew who were on on 3-season basic cable contracts in alignment with their collective bargaining agreements. Instead, they reverted them back to season 1 scale minimums as if they had started a new show.
Who are their agents?
Yes. Well, I mean, most low-level crew people don't have agents, babe.
No, I mean, talk about the actors.
Oh, no, this isn't the actors. This is the crew.
Oh, well, yeah.
I think Disney thinks they are so huge that it doesn't matter what they pay anyone. Director of photography Alan K. Walker said, no matter how good you are, you're still a line item. Series executive Adam Bonnet insisted that the spin-off decision wasn't part of some Disney master plan and that saving money wasn't part of the reason for the overhaul on this or any other Disney Channel series that followed suit. We did change the title of our show in latter seasons, but it was simply to keep the creative fresh. He said, each reason why the name was changed is different from show to show. It had nothing to do with contract, saving money, any kind of that stuff. I mean, that's just ridiculous, end quote. Still, there were measures taken to ensure that On Deck classified as a new series and not a continuation of Zack and Cody. It, quote, was absolutely financial because there were very specific rules that we had to follow in terms of characters, sets, and premises to make sure it was a new show, Lapidus said. We had to walk a very fine line to figure out how many characters we could take and still call it a new show. As a result, the series' matriarch, Kim Rhodes, was not invited back. Another near casualty was Phil Lewis, who played Mr. Mosby, and whom the network pushed to axe from On Deck until the creatives won the battle to keep him. And with a starring role off the table, Ashley Tisdale did not return, opting instead to pursue a singing career and the possibility of much bigger projects after the success of High School Musical. Honestly, for the best. That was Sasha talking, not in the book. The initial plan was to replace Ashley's character Maddie with a new female character close to London's age, so they almost cast Tiffany Thornton, but Tiffany was simultaneously cast on Sunny with a Chance and unavailable. And when the network passed along a tape that 14-year-old Debbie Ryan had submitted from Texas, they re-engineered the part to suit her instead, aging the Bailey character down to make her a cohort for the boys rather than London. Debbie had the Disney look, Callis said, the chipmunk cheeks, the big eyes, the whole 9 yards. Whatever the actual reason for the spin-off approach was, the Sweet Life on Deck premise, the twins now went to boarding school on a cruise ship that sailed around the world, paired well with Disney Channel's international focus and the Disney Cruise Line business. The showrunners toured one of the Disney ship docks at Long Beach for inspiration, and while Zack and Cody couldn't be on a Disney cruise or reference the Disney brand on the show due to FCC regulations, the very basis of the series subliminally instilled the idea that cruises are great fun to viewers watching at home. The Sweet Life on Deck...
Though, that's not true.
Oh, Disney cruises are fun. The cruise we went...
Oh my god. Are we learning nothing about the evil of this corporation?
I'm just saying, Disney cruises are a lot of fun. No, I am a human. Don't tell me I'm not a human. I'm a human. I'm a human. I swear to God, look, I'm drinking coffee. Do robots drink coffee? I don't think so. It would rust their gears.
It could be motor oil in there. They don't know.
It could be motor oil in there. He's right. The Sweet Life on Deck premiered to 5.7 million viewers in 2008 and continued to perform well, but it was not entirely smooth sailing on set. While the teenage cast members occasionally got into competitive spats and feuds over who had a crush on who, the bigger problem was once again the adults. According to multiple sources who worked on the Sweet Life series, showrunner Danny Callis' leadership grew more intense on the sequel series, and the former smart guy and Who's the Boss producer often yelled to get his point across. Quote, Danny could be the sweetest human being in the world, but he was a little old school, yelling and angry showrunner mentality at a time when that was not appropriate anymore, especially on a kids show, said producer Adam Lapidus, who had first worked with Callis on Smart Guy in the 90s. He would never directly be abusive to the children or anything like that, but he was a tense guy and he got stressed easily, countered director Rich Carell. Quote, a lot of people thought Danny was a pain in the ass, and I thought he was very, very loyal to the show. I thought he was a good showrunner. Yeah, well, you also thought Brian Peck was a good person, so I don't really trust you anymore. Sorry. That was Sasha, not the book.
It's Mark Lapidus?
Adam Lapidus, but close enough.
Shocker.
Definitely there is, Nagisa. Things reached a tipping point.
Trust a Lapidus.
Never trust a Lapidus. Things reached a tipping point while filming the second season of The Sweet Life on Deck, and Callis was fired, and one of the show's executive producers, Pamela Ellis O'Connell, who previously produced Married with Children, and Ellen, was promoted to oversee On Deck for the remainder of the series. Callis said that he was completely caught off guard by his ousting. "The mouse is cheap and the mouse is heartless," he said. "No one ever told me why I was let go. They just said they were protecting their set in the vaguest of ways." When asked about firing, Adam Bonnet said, "It was just time, but more importantly, he had a number 2 in Pamela Ellis who was good at what she did, and it gave us the confidence that she could pick up the ball and run with it." To some, Callis's exit was a relief as the Sweet Life on Deck soundstage became a calmer place. Quote, "I always felt like," parenthetical, "being a showrunner was such a stressful job that I understood when you lost your shit," said Lapidus, who stepped into the number 2 role. And then suddenly, when Pam was there, it was like, oh no, wait, you can actually do this job and not yell at people? Still, executive producer Irene Dreyer stressed that any negativity from Callis didn't really permeate the atmosphere during his previous years overseeing Sweet Life. Quote, "There was so much love on set," she said, noting that 89% of the time Danny was terrific. And the show added, when it escalated, he was instantly taken off the show. Well, them's the breaks. Overall, while many creative described their time working at Disney Channel show as one of the best jobs I've ever had, others bemoan the company's culture of fear in which everyone at every level was replaceable. Disney did operate from an MO of fear on that said That's So Raven showrunner Dennis Rinsler. My personal opinion is that they felt that they got better cooperation if everyone was in fear. That unease may have helped keep some problematic whims in check, as there seemed to be less tolerance for overt, out-of-line behavior in comparison to what some have alleged was allowed to transpire at other networks. When there were blatant enough issues, above-the-line creatives could be fired in the middle of a production, despite the series' success. Quote, "I mean, nothing excuses the behavior of a toxic showrunner or a toxic person, but we were a kid-driven family entertainment, and that's distinctly different from Nickelodeon, which is a place where it's only for kids," former Disney Channel president Ann Sweeney said. "We had a lot of people on staff who deeply cared about our talent and knew their families and were very, very protective of these kids. It wasn't because Disney told us to be. I think when people sign up for the Disney Channel, they sign up for a way of thinking about kids and families." I do have to give them credit because the issues that happened at Nickelodeon, like the things in that documentary, are never have reported to have happened here. And I think if they had, it would come out, especially considering the crossover of a lot of these kids. Like a lot of the kids had issues with the adults at Nickelodeon, like the things that you can't say on here.
Oh my God.
And that didn't happen at Disney because they had a more rigorous vetting process and they were watched more closely and they had more on-set guardians, but they didn't let him on set. So it's bad, but he was never allowed on set with the kids. So yes, it's bad, but he still wasn't allowed in their vicinity. So, I mean, no, it's not good that they hired him, but Nickelodeon letting him be their physical coach, that's a problem. You know, obviously we know that that's a problem. But as was the case, yeah, it's sad. But as was with the case with Michael Pores, who returned to co-run Hannah Montana after being fired from That's So Raven, the network could give second chances to certain individuals, provided that their behavior hadn't affected the health and happiness of any talent, which Bonnet said was always paramount. "I wouldn't give Disney executives that much credit, but they did want a happy set," Lapidus argued. "I think they wanted a smooth running set too. And even talent could be expendable when they crossed the line starkly enough," Mitchell Musso, who co-starred on Hannah Montana, later said, after starring in a role on Disney XD series Pair of Kings. He was released from the latter project after he got a DUI. Driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs was explicitly listed as talent's contracts as an activity that carried undue risk of injury or death and therefore could be grounds for termination. "Whether you're starring on Disney Channel show or whether you're developing a Disney Channel show, you're working for the Walt Disney Company," Bonnet said. "There's an expectation that you're going to adhere to certain values that are important." After 71, the Sweet Life on Deck episodes spanning 3 seasons, plus the Sweet Life DCOM, the Sprouses were legal adults by the time On Deck finished taping in 2010. Their base salaries had been contracted to go from $8,000 per episode on the first season of the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody to $13,781 per episode on the final On Deck season, plus contingent bonuses. I mean, that's not that much considering how popular the show was. I have to say, that's only an increase of couple $1,000, all things considered. Weird. And Dylan said that they were eager to stay on the network. Oh, maybe he thought it was very good then. Never mind me. I mean, we had a really awesome idea for where the show needed to go. We were 18, he told Vulture, and if that isn't old enough to know exactly what the show needs, then, well, I would beg to disagree. The twins had both been accepted to New York University, and they had initially hoped to defer their enrollment for a year and put together a third Sweet Life iteration. The network was also keen, and they had discussed having the Martins serve as mentors to the new young boy navigating their life in the hotel. But the parties couldn't land on how exactly that would play out. Instead, Dylan and Cole continued on to NYU, where they graduated with honors studying video game design and archaeology, respectively. I mean, I guess if you're rich, you can do whatever you want, right? They got money. What do they care? Study what your passion is.
They have that much money?
I mean, yeah, they'd been working since they were 1 year old and they were 18, so I'd imagine so, yeah.
Unless they were just exploited and had their stuff stolen.
That got stopped when they were like 11, so they had enough to then continue after that. Yeah.
Good stuff, everyone. Hit the shower.
It's pretty bad. Dylan and Cole were very secure. They had this attitude like, we don't need this job, Lapidus said, and I think they liked it, but they felt like if it all went away tomorrow, they'd be fine. I wish more actors had that attitude. The Sweet Life franchise was a ratings hit for the Disney Channel and a star-making vehicle for the Sprouses, but the combination of the twins' disinterest in engaging with the wider Disney ecosystem and the Tween Boys of America's disinterest with engaging with the Disney Channel-related products meant Sweet Life never achieved the wider cultural impact that other female-led Disney Channel shows of the era did. Era did. And it would take a romantic High School Musical that had the trifecta of singing, sports, and merchandising empire to truly catapult the network to new heights. So I think we all know that tomorrow we are reading High School Musical, the little movie that could. Well. We learned a lot today, both about the fog and about the Disney Channel. And tomorrow we venture into High School Musical, which was, I think, a big reason why a lot of us got into it. What was that? I think a lot of us wanted to read this book specifically to read this chapter, so it's very exciting. As I wrote to everyone
What year was this show on TV?
High School Musical?
No, the one that you're talking about.
Sweet Life of Zack and Cody?
Yeah.
I think it was on from like 2006 to 2010.
Who was this book written for?
This book?
Yeah.
Well, this book starts in 1989. I mean, it's written for a wide 2008 to 2011. Okay, I was close.
I was gonna say, I thought
it spans a very wide range of shows. Like, it started by talking about like Halloween Town and stuff like that was on when we were kids.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, well, anyway.
You talking about Hey Dude?
That's a different network.
What was that on?
Nickelodeon.
Oh, I think I watched Nickelodeon.
Yeah, all the boys did. That was the point of this chapter. This chapter is specifically about
Disney,
it.
I don't think. Yeah, we didn't. That was cost extra.
Yeah, it did cost extra. Yeah, but the whole point of this chapter was actually that they were trying to get the boy audience, and it only went to Nickelodeon and such. What?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I watched Hey Dude though. Actually,
who didn't?
I don't know. I loved it. Maybe that's why I wanted to ride horses.
I mean, I was in the job force when I was working
Sloth
as
said,
an adult while this fucking show was on. Like, what the fuck?
Sloth just said, "Secret Husband just proved the point that the chapter made." Yep, it's literally true.
Which is what?
That they failed at getting the boy audience. Disney Channel, because you don't know.
I don't think my age, no matter what they did, they could have got the boy audience.
That's what the whole chapter was about, though. That Disney Channel failed to get the boy audience that Nickelodeon was able to get.
No, but Disney never could have because they made animated movies. It wasn't cool.
But these were all not animated.
No, but it didn't matter.
Right.
Like Disney was not a cool thing to anybody.
Yeah, that was the point.
In our age group.
The point was they got all the girls in our age group. They didn't get the boys.
They were never gonna do it.
Well, that was the point of the chapter. So you're proving their point.
But it didn't matter what TV shows they put on. They were never gonna get it.
Yes. Yeah, they're saying you should go work for Disney Channel and get that bag immediately.
What?
I don't know.
What am I gonna do at Disney?
I mean, you could do
exploit
something. You're too old to get exploited, babe.
That's not true.
No, it's not. I don't know why I said that. Okay.
No, that's not true. I'm an American. I can always be exploited.
Yes,
More.
just like the mail, which brings us right back around to the beginning of this day. So I will see you all later. I have to go pack the rest of the orders. Keep an eye out for your packages. They will be delayed due to all of the issues at the post office, not due to me mailing them late, just due to...
election fraud?
Correct. We talked about that at the beginning, and someone came on and said I was paranoid, and I was like, I'm not.
Not paranoid.
It's not paranoid. Anyway, I love you all. I'll see you later, and we will read about High School Musical tomorrow morning. Bye, guys.